Yeah, this presentation, the next one by Rayees, will be also about building an international business. And Rayees has got experience in India, and now he's working in Russia. Am I right, Rayees?
Yeah, hi guys. Okay, you give it to
Yeah,
me
you can
and I'll
start. You can
start it.
start. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Sure.
So, okay, guys, myself, Rayees Wani. I come from Indian part of Kashmir. I live as an expat in the global market. I have been in Moscow for the last 9 years. Right now, I'm in one of my projects into a Russian company, but it's out as usual. And currently, as of today, I am in Dhaka, Bangladesh for the project. It's my pleasure to get connected. I can try my broken Russian as well, if you guys don't get pissed off by that. But that's not going to be fine because I'm not that well at Russian language. So let's start for this webinar. I would love to give my insights. I am an international business manager, and it's my pleasure once again to have you guys with me today. I'll try to give my insights into the international business development, especially with a country like India or a region like Asia. And I would love to share my insights, my practical experience, my core elements I have gotten from my career, so that I hope you get something out of my speech that may help you in the practical life when it comes to real application of business on the ground level, rather than going off for statistics and other stuff. So here we go. For example, when we talk about international business is all about GTM, product management, and some basic factors. For example, confirmation bias and other elements, what I'll be talking during my speech. In the meanwhile, if any of you want to come up, pop up a message to me, I'll be more than happy to do that. I can understand Russian a bit. I can speak a bit as well. So it's going to be fine. Please don't worry about language. And we have the fantastic moderators here who can help us with that as well, because the real essence of this talk, this webinar, getting your precious time and contributing my precious time, is we have to learn from each other, because we are in international market, rather than making it as one of the millions of webinars, customary webinars, what I call. So talking about GTM, first of all, it's not go-to-market about sales and marketing. It's go-to-market. That means everything. That means go-to-market with your product, with your whole full kitty, facing the market, going with your team, going with your challenges, going with your positives and negatives. I'll be talking about each of these headlines in my next slides. And before that, let me throw some light on each of these items here. So next, GTM is about the product. Product does not mean R&D only, your research and development at your headquarters or at your factory base or in your headquarters. Management, cultural decoding is the management. As we heard the last speaker as well, I could understand in the Russian, he was talking about much about cultural aspects he has got from the Indian diaspora and Indian people in India. Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. And some other psychological and cultural and natural factors, what I can put in the category of confirmation bias. So let's start from here. Let's go one by one. First of all, in my opinion, as a student of international business with 15 or 16 odd years of experience, I think the mission purpose is very, very important. I will try to explain everything. Once again, I repeat, if any of you, my friends, want to come up with your minor or major question or doubts or support my argument, you're more than welcome. So mission purpose is, if we put it into the sentences, for example, you got a deep dive to make what it is NIV in your NIV. What exactly you are bringing to the market. We are not talking about edtech. We are not talking about energy. We are not talking about medical. We are not talking about tourism. That's called an industry segment. We are talking about what exactly you have in that particular sector. That's called value proposition and maximum value proposition. I can give a couple of examples. For example, edtech. EdTech, it's not just EdTech. When you deep dive, it's MOOCA, it's online classes, it's university level classes, it's supplying of material for exams, it's kids classes, it's anything about kindergartens. So at surface level, you can say we are talking about EdTech, but when you go deep dive, you have to see which category you belong to. And in that particular category, is your product stronger? Are you well positioned and well positioned into that particular target? For example, if you are going to India, if you have, let's keep the same example to make it much easier. You're talking about EdTech. You're saying, wow, there are billions of dollars in India and amazing country, huge population. Yeah, everything is perfectly correct. And you want to go to EdTech. Now, who is your competitor? If you go by surface level, you have to say it's Biju. If you go at surface level, you have to say it's someone else. But unless you don't go to deep dive, you can't say, and you have to go to statistics of those companies, their value proposition, their valuation, their last financial budgeting, their last financial performance. Why exactly? Because you will see where from they have got the revenue, which exact part, section of the services. For example, in the BJUs, I hope most of the EdTech companies may not be drawing their GTM based on the BJUs marketing catch or marketing part, because if you see their last year revenue, 80%, more than 60% of that has not come from education. That has come from supplying the educational material, but they are not actually branded for that. They are branded for online education, for different professional exams. So if I want to compete with a company like Biju, I would say, wow, they are for online examinations, professional exams. And if my product is same, I'll go with the same marketing. For example, they are doing the celebrity marketing, what I'll be talking about in the marketing segment later. So that means you will be definitely burning your cash in millions, and you will come to know about that after 1 or 2 or 3 years, and that will be late. And that's why we see 90% of startups fall down. I'm not here to paint everything in black or to make you a little pessimistic, but I just want to throw a real light what happens in the real world apart from buzz. So the target segment of the target market is very, very important, as I told you. And are we with the vibe or calculations? For example, after the situation in Russia, most of the companies started routing to UAE, Brazil, India, Africa. Cool, great, not a bad idea. But we have to see, where are we going? What for? Do we have calculations into that market? Are we correctly placed there? Are we competing just for the sake of competition or following the vibe, or our product is correctly placed or not? And even if you will say now, blockchain, NFT platforms, for example, metaverse-like things are disruptive here. So we are disruptive. We don't need to take care about these things, but that doesn't matter at all. Disruptive does not mean NIV. Disruptive means you are taking new market opportunity, you break through with your value proportion, and you make a disruptive business model of your own. And when you combine all these 3 important factors, you see there is a very small idea that's called unique, as you can see in the presentation. That's actually your market segment. So now you are not into an industry. You are not into a particular service of that industry. Now, after having these kind of research done, these kind of calculations done, you see you are into exact market segment you need to be. And then you have much, much higher chances of not burning the cash, doing amazing marketing, typical and precise marketing strategy, driving your sales force to that particular direction, fitting your product into that particular direction. And obviously, you're going to have much, much higher chances of success. And because you won't be competing mediocre, you will be something of your own. And if we move it and we see, we start with the product. As I was talking about the product, the second part of the important discussion today after GTM. I hope you got clear about GTM. Let me check the chats. If we have anyone who has questioned, I'll be more than happy. Okay, fine. There's no question. So now talking about the product strategy, we are done with the GTM main highlighter. Now coming back to second part of the discussion, that's product strategy. Product gap, what you have and what your market demands. 80% of times, products are not fit from the first year of service. Why? That has two important factors. One, we are very successful in the domestic market, and we want to replicate that success in the international market. And that leads us to witness big loopholes into our product later on after a couple of months. And second thing is that when we go with the vibe, we forget about important developments into our product based on that second market we are approaching. That's very, very important. Then we talk about the product mix. Rather spending millions of product development, we may go for strategic partnerships. Why? For example, I come up with a product to India. After knowing the different consumer behavior there, after knowing the different cultural patterns there, after knowing the different economic style there, after knowing the different purchasing power of people there, I see with my product manager or myself, if I am the product manager myself, we see or I see that our product is not fit into the market. So what immediately we start doing? We start making big product teams in our headquarters most of the times, and we start doing the developments. That takes months and months and months. And we, all of us know the sprints of that product management cycle are never ending. What we can do to avoid that, because we are a startup, we are not talking about an established company. We can simply go for a kind of strategic partnership. For example, I can give you a very simple example here. A Russian small company talking about chatbots can go in collaboration with another Russian company talking about CPaaS, communication platform as a software. And when you club these two products, you get a complete omni-channel platform fit with automation that's called bots, robots. So what does that mean? That means if you sell this kind of product to big organizations or smaller companies, they're going to have everything from A to Z. That means their clients, when coming to the communication channel, they can offer them bots, automated replies. And if by any chance the client is not satisfied, he will be routed to the real operator back and having complete command on the omni-channel in terms of reporting, routing, downloading, and all other features. So now, if this bot making company in Russia go into India, and he will get a huge competition from established giants, and he has to make that big gap for himself and enter into that gap and make a kind of space for himself. And doing that, it will take him good amount of time, and his product is also not ready with all the features it should have, for example, for India. So he would always be in tight fight with his product team at Moscow, and employing so many people, spending so much time, and not ready with the product. But going with the strategic partnership is amazing, because both the startups can do it amazingly, and two budding startups can definitely make it to the unicorn. And if you go into the internet later on, you can see a lot of amazing examples like that, when two budding startups have clubbed together and they have formed that into unicorn. So these are the highlighters about the product strategy. Now, going further down, let's talk about management, business management, cultural management, team management, communication process management. What we mean by that, it's simply when we say the business management, when we say the cultural management, when we say the team management or communication process management, it's from the same thing, but it's not. It's altogether different. When it comes to the business management, for example, Russian company going to India, they think their product is amazing, and that can be as well. It's not like products always need more development. Sometimes you have super amazing product ready, but when you go to the other country, you are not sure about the management, business management. So first of all, a lot of your cash is burned because you're going to the consultants for your representative office or any kind of trade license, any kind of legal support, and you are taken as a foreigner, and it's Asian versus Eastern European, let's say like that, in terms of cultural understanding. And definitely they expect you having so much scalability of purchasing, you having different economic model in the mind, you having richer cash in your wallet, because they take you as a European, they compare it everything with euro or pounds or dollars. And if your real consultancy for a certain process or service takes $1,000, you're going to pay at least $3,000 to $5,000 for that. Same thing happens on every kind of consultative things. It goes in a pattern. Whether you have to go for representative office, you have to select a country manager. Either you're going to have a nominal managing director or country manager filling the local documents, or you're going to have anything in the form of an employee, fixed assets or liquid assets or any kind of services. You're going to spend 3 to 5 times more. And when you understand all this, you already have passed that stage, and you already have gone to that level where you see you are so much spent already, and you are yet to think about the profit, you're yet to think about other things. So cultural side, hierarchy, behavior patterns is very, very important. For example, you hire a country manager, you expect him to be very direct, friendly with you because you have Russian cultural mindset set up. And in India, it's not like that. The hierarchy is something very, very important. And he is not going to be so direct with you. He's not going to come up with the real feedback. At times, you're going to suffer. Because to understand him as a person, to understand his performance, or to get a real picture of the country about your business, it's going to take you much amount of time if you don't know about these things. So the cultural hierarchy, the cultural side, behavior patterns are very, very important at the same time. Now going to the communication management. As I was saying, some countries follow direct, some countries follow passive. But since we're talking about India, so I would try to be with India. You cannot be so direct. You cannot be so objective. Yeah, if you're reward-based, that may work here more, but you cannot be with the critical appreciation. That will be taken as a kind of insult or kind of negative feedback from the superior. So all these things depend a lot. Then the marketing management. When you know the market segment, what I was trying to highlight in my first slide, then you should know the exact marketing approach you should be taking for your particular product. Let's take the same example. Biju in EdTech. They are spending more than the biggest portion of their marketing on celebrity marketing. You can call that multi-level marketing in terms of marketing language. They are not spending much money on SMM. And there is a strong history besides that. Why are they doing that? So we cannot follow our competitor blind. We have to see our product is related with B2C, B2B, B2G. Then that product of that age group or that class of consumers in the market, what's going to be the most effective channel for that? Only after that we can go for a particular marketing. And it same applies to branding as well. If you need at all channel specific, conventional or mix, it can be sometimes mixed, it can be conventional, it can be any of these depending on your product and the country you're dealing with. Then let's move to the last part of our discussion. That is avoid confirmation bias, because you read success stories only. Experience comes from failures, but failures are not published. Don't get lured with the buzz headliners of funding at all. It's not to demotivate anyone. It's a practical thing that we see a lot of buzz on the internet today, that somebody got millions of dollars of funding, somebody reached a valuation, somebody acquired somebody. But when it comes into the reality, we have to see the first 3 years of performance of the company. Have we gone from cash negative to cash positive? Have we attained the growth? Are we growing? Have we taken off from that, taken off projectile motion? Are we really leading to the real stuff? What was our mission purpose? If our mission purpose was to become the top 5 companies in this sector, in this country, have we done all that for that? And are we moving into the same direction? Is our marketing in the right approach? Is our business management in the right approach? Is our service staff in the right approach? So all these clubs together would and should definitely help a company to avoid the pitfalls, to save themselves from cash burning, and to lead the company with much, much energy, optimism, and positivity. And the key takers and the key deciders and the key or the key pointers from my talk, what I would like to sum up is your market, the cultural pattern of that market, the consumer behavior of that market, who exactly you're dealing with. Is your product fit for that? What else you need to develop into your product roadmap if you don't want to go for mergers? If you want to go for mergers, how fast you should be in that and when exactly you should be in that to avoid seeing yourself getting backwards or receding back, so that to be at the front level, if you're talking about, especially if you're talking about something digital, something related with the high tech or I-tech. And then comes to the management, how to set up a base in the country on a much larger scale, smaller scale. What exactly depends again on your product, on your sector, and on your mission purpose, because mission purpose is very, very important. For example, for a B2C kind of company, you don't need city level offices. You can have a strong CRM funneled sales mapping of inbound, outbound leads, for example, great SMM marketing and capturing leads from there and getting your amazing account managers taking care of that. But if you're talking about something big in the same sector, maybe your strategic partnerships are going to be there, or solution partners are going to be there. So that's about the business part. Then about the communication part, understanding the people, understanding how to talk to them, how to get their reporting properly with avoiding any kind of embarrassment and all that. And lastly, about not to follow the buzz. It's not something pessimistic. It's real. It's reality. That confirmation bias, actually, what's confirmation bias? Confirmation bias is in our real lives, it happens. We see when something goes to some particular direction and people talk about it, we think, yeah, that's the gold mine. And we all follow that. But if somebody has failed there, his story is never published and we never know. So we only see the contrasted light of that and we follow that. Better is not to go with the wind. Better is to have the calculations properly about the market, about the product, about your mission purpose. Once again, I repeat, that's the most important thing. And that may lead you to real fantastic journey. And again, having that in mind, that what I'm going to achieve in the first 3 years of my international business expansion. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to me patiently and with such a calm. I am delighted, and I'll be more than happy if you can please come up with your questions or anything for me. Over to you. Thanks.
Thanks, Rayees, so much. Guys, does anyone have a question for to say aloud with your videos and audios on? Yeah, I see Evgeny. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, Wani, how's it going? Thank you for your presentation. Yeah, could you tell us more regarding your maybe some of the most challenging case from your practice in India?
First of all, you could have told me this question on WhatsApp as well. We are connected there. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but
so I hope
what are you?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. No, it's a light side of the story. Yeah, we have friends here who may be interested in this as well. Yeah, it's you get struck. You definitely get struck, and it's not a surprise. If you see the failure, that's the real success. That's the first step to the success. If you do not see the failure or surprises, that means something is wrong. So we have to take it positively. For example, I was in Russia in 2014. It took me first 2 to 4 years to understand the country, to understand the people, understand how they work. Because in my first year, it was quite surprising. So many things were quite surprising for me. And hey, how's it going? How they work like this? How can they work like this? For example, I saw the procrastination. I saw the delays in certain things, which otherwise takes 10 to 20 seconds to decide. And I had to wait for the whole day, for example. Similarly, I saw good things as well. You share your feedback, you are friendly with each other, you're so direct, and that gives you an amazing chance to have your self-development. One more amazing example for this to boost the confidence of our friends here. We know the CEO of Google from India. He said once an important and amazing thing. He said, I belong to India. I come from India. We have billions of population and competition is huge and fierce. If I was in India, I had not migrated to States, I still would have been in some company as a developer. So what actually he means, he doesn't mean that Indians do not respect hard work. No, definitely, but you are in huge competition. You are born and you are told you have to survive among this huge population. But in Russia, you have been in the Soviet system. Everything was free. You took that as a blessing. For example, if we go more deep dive, what's cultural understanding? You got electricity, you got water, you got apartment for free. Your babushka was in the war with Germany and she was given a free apartment, which now costs 100,000 rubles to 200,000 rubles, for example, in the red. I'm not talking about the cost. But for the same thing in India, it takes your whole life to go for the house loan, housing loans, pay the interest, pay the loans. That means you respect that hard work. But in Russia, if you have a free apartment, for example, gotten from your grandmother, gotten from your grandfather, for example, you may not realize the importance of that big asset in your life. Similarly, you get free electricity, almost free, free gas, almost free. But in India, you have to fight for that. Why? Because rates are getting higher, 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 and your incomes are getting lower, lower, lower. So what does that mean? You respect the basic amenities of life. And in Russia, you may take these things not so important, but at the same time, you may have other positives, what Indians may not have. For example, you may spend hours in your office because your social structure is like that. Your friends are mostly in your office or outside office in a cafe. But in India, you have high contextual society. You have to go for festivals. You have to go to home on time. You have the joint family, high contextual social fabric. So coming back to the actual point, if you see the real difficult times, please understand you're moving in the right direction. But yeah, we got to be careful, rational, calculative, how to pass that, and not to go with the sweet-tongued people or more talkative people, because that's the two important things you will face in India. And you will never see no to anything. Even if you tell them that, guys, let's go to Mars tomorrow, they'll say, yeah, let's try. They would never say you how, because they love to say yes. So you have to understand it. Yeah, like Russell Peter, you can see that video, by the way. Yeah, so that's the point.
Let's go to Mars.
Thank you. Let's go to Mars. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Well, thank you, Wani. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Gary.
Great. Thanks, guys. Do you have any other questions? Or I've just read all the chat, and it seems like Max has already answered all the questions in the chat that were addressed to him. So yeah, probably you've got questions, guys. I'm sorry for these sounds coming. Yeah, maybe you've got any questions for Wani?
I have a little question. Ken, maybe I have my opportunity to ask a question.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, Max, please go ahead.
Thank you very much for your talk. And I have a question. Have a great experience of working in IT and technology in different regions, and having a lot of experience in India market. Can you name maybe 2, 3 some products or niche that you have mentioned that is not yet established in India? Because I face them like kind of every week there, for example, like kind of entrepreneur opportunities, and it's totally blowing my mind about India. Like they don't have, for example, which I have mentioned just during several months, that they don't have kind of health home animals insurance, no kind of popular genetic stuffs like 23andMe, no things connecting with, for example, kind of investments that is very common in Russia, like in Tinkoff investments, something like that. There are more specific about some gold micro investments and something like that, which is very interesting. But maybe can you name some interesting things that you have mentioned that is not still in India?
First of all, I would like to take it again on a lighter side. What's not in India, that means they have given it to the world. That means they are the people behind that. If you see NFT platform, if you see gold, as you're talking about, if you see anything about what's going on in the meta, for example, let's talk about real world right now. If you deep dive, there's an Indian behind that. What does that mean actually? That means the same what I was telling in my previous talk, that they are the best at everything, but they see the market is not there. They go out. They go to the outside of the world. And that definitely makes a sense, because you do not need that for India. In India, we are still fighting for the basic amenities, but yeah, at the same time, we can use our blockchain, we can use our automation in the medical sector, for example, because there is a huge demand of things in the medical sector, because the rate of sickness and diseases are there, and people spend a lot on medication. That can be something that may replace the conventional setup in medical, because Indians do not purchase until it's not important. Why? Again, the same thing what I was telling in my previous talk, but when you are in Russia, basic amenities are not luxury for you. Luxury for you is now advanced, pro version of something. Like you may deal with Tinkoff, you may go digital. You don't care about the bank, they exist or not, because you just want service and you believe, yeah, it's going to be there. But in India, they will think 2,000 times before opening a bank account, even with the government bank, which is not going to disappear. Why? Because things work like that. at a certain point of time, the government suddenly comes out and tells, hey, this thing is not going to be there from tomorrow. That what he can do. So people get those that social setbacks every time. So consumer behavior, economic pattern decides that product. So I will say medical, I'll say blockchain into certain sectors. I would say NFT platforms now, because there is a lot of demand in the mega cities, metro cities in India, where people love to have something in arts now, which was not there, like let's say 10 years before. So these 3, 4, and maybe subject to more research, we can find something more as well. But this comes to my mind as of now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for the question. And guys, waiting for you for just several seconds to raise your hand if you want to add anything. If not...
Давай, я тоже понимаю по-русски.
Окей, супер. Можем по-русски, да, если кто-то хочет выйти.
Может быть, попробуй. Если я не понимаю, но я буду, давай помочь мне.
Евгений, вы опять подняли руку или это с прошлого раза у меня осталось?
Я подогреваю интерес. У меня есть вопрос, который в чате прозвучал, и я бы хотел задать его Ване, поскольку он сейчас находится в Бангладеше, да, если я не ошибаюсь. Ваня, are based in Bangladesh, yeah? And there are a lot of, people who are just curious regarding the relocation to Bangalore or any other cities. What do you recommend? Should the founder go there directly to live there for like 3 months, 4 months, or it's possible to establish remote relations and remote business? What is your opinion on?
People here are crazy for Canada because they are getting immigration, not free, but they are getting the fast immigration process for their whole family. So that's the main about middle class. Now you're talking about Bangalore. That's all about founders, investors, rich people who want to grow something within their geo circumstances. Yeah, they are there as well. But I would say it depends on the product, and we can talk about it. Yes, it's remotely possible as well. You can go for solution partnership as well, strategic partnership as well. But it's mostly quite, I would say it's not that hard to operate from India. If you're talking about Bangladesh, you can operate, and you can see a lot of examples there, especially from Malaysia, like Axiata. You can see more engaged Indian company. You can see Infobip. Some of them have the local offices here. Some of them are operating from India, and some of them are operating for the whole region from India, like Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, even Cambodia from here. So it depends. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Do you prefer to relocate, your company to India if you will be the founder from Russia?
No, in the current company where I'm right now, I would definitely not go there because it's a fierce competition, not in the product, in so many things which you come to know later. I am comfortable in Bangladesh for now because here the prices are not that like India in so many things, and you can have the cheap labor. Still, you can have the cheap labor. Of course, you have difficulties as well, and you can approach Bhutan, Nepal, Cambodia from here, and it depends on the age of your product as well. For example, right now, the company I'm working with, we are into the VAS, which is nowhere into the world except some countries now. But wherever that is, it's in the millions of dollars. So, for example, for my kind of product, it's best for me to stay in Dhaka for some time and approach Nepal from here, approach Bhutan from here. And we are making platforms for telecoms. I can do that from here as well. It depends on your good contacts and into your bidding, and you just need a couple of travels to that particular country. You don't need a country office. You don't need country people for that. So it depends. It depends where are you working actually.
Right. Thank you for sharing your direct strategy from the shadow.
Thanks so much. So I can see that we don't have other questions from the audience. Guys, please let us know if you want to get in touch with our speakers. I've seen in the chat that you've already exchange contact with Max. We are always happy to connect you all, and yay, let's conquer the new markets. And waiting for you to join our next webinar, the latest webinar, the last one of this series. Tomorrow it will be about China, and yeah, I'm waiting for you guys. So thanks so much for our speakers, for those who asked questions.
Thank you so much. Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much.